Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our first AI Whisperers program in December of 2024. And we got a new contestant joining us. Over the holidays, paid for they made a Cyber Monday deal I couldn't refuse, and I paid for Grok. And now we have Grok. So I thought today we'd have ChatGPT run the questions and see how Grok does at doing the answers. And welcome our new AI. Also, if anybody watching the video, I had a little home repair issue and a piece of chimney pipe fell on my eye. I would like to say that my wife beat me up, but and she would probably like to say that too, that she gets a kick out of that type of thing, but that's not what happened. All right. And as always, I have my co-host Arpita Gandhi with me. Please say hi, Arpita. We're going to work through this kind of quick. Our goals here in this particular, and we're going to run a few of them this year, maybe. Well, definitely we're going to do CC for in the afternoons on Fridays. This particular program on Friday, the 10 to 12 is for CISSP. And RP, did you see some students were asking about ISACA ones? I think we should do it combined, but we'll talk about that later. Maybe a three lines of defense one. All right, but our overall objective is to help secure this world. It's a very amazing place. We're using AIs, they're taking over, and we want to make sure that the big risk of AI, and it's not control. They're going to take over whether you like it or not. It's bias, and CISSPs are committed to protecting the common good. So that's what we do, and we help the ISO, the federation we call them, and we want to help everybody from Afghanistan to Zimbabwe share in this abundant, amazing future we've got. All right, so this is us. You can always go back and play this. We try to get through this part faster, and I think we're going to save this too. Maybe I shouldn't do this weekly, and we'll see how many people. Our courses include weekly programs, of a 5-day boot camps. We also have monthly ones, and how many weeks now, RP, because we have to have like room for other classes. So when people take the new, I think we did the last one over 9 weeks or 10 weeks.
8 weeks.
8 weeks, but but there was a gap. We had to do a gap for a regular CC or a regular CISSP in the middle, I believe. So,
Yes, so
but
then it's 9 weeks. That's right.
yeah. All right, so we'll be publishing those schedules soon, and we also have hands-on practice. Arpita did her baby there. She worked with the Try Hack Me, like the #1 online simulation thing in the world, and she's created a pathway for us to for now. You've got, I'm sorry, CISSP and CC going now, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, thank you so much. And then we show you how to run these prompts to create use these AIs that we're going to play with today as your awesome, the most advanced exam training assistant in the world. Ever imagine? They just keep getting better too. Did anybody notice? O1 came out production last night. So that was one of the things. I was in this metaverse radio. If you guys are listening, and you guys were talking about O1, and when I got off, I said, "Oh, I've been using it, but I was using the beta." It went live yesterday. And so it was allowing it like voice chat with O1. When I woke up, it was gone. They took the feature back, so we'll see what happened. But a lot of advancements, they keep rolling out new features, and it just mostly makes your job of studying for your exam a lot easier. All right, and then you also get our recordings, pre-recordings of the content outlines. And we do all kinds of other stuff. We have annual memberships, career counseling, all kinds of fun stuff. And the common good is not just humans. There's a major bias problem where humans tend to think we're the only ones on this planet, and that's not true. That's not true. We share this. And in Ray Kurzweil's most recent book, he argued that elephants are probably far more intelligent than us. And what makes us think we're so smart is our ability to manipulate the environment. But he said that's probably because we have an opposable thumb. That's more of a physical control. It's not more of an intellectual. So we have a duty to help and work together, and we donate money to that. So. All right, so a quick intro to our we know that it's not artificial intelligence, real intelligence. You can go back over. So what we really want to do is use these guys just like any other risk management technology, whether it's a telescope or radio. We're using AI to help us navigate securely. Understand? All right. All right. So, yeah. this was a different one. All right, so we're going to skip through this. Yet, what, blah blah blah. And here's our big problems: convincing humans. It's not the technology problem; it's getting other people. There's a. I want to create a slide, Arpita, to let people know it's not religion. It's centralized versus decentralized. At the same, similar time period or whatever, that they're arguing that the Pope and their centralized man, I don't trust this new technology. Science, no, God is right. Michael Faraday, who was a very devout Christian, but more of a decentralized religion, he discovered waves of electricity. And he goes, aha, so that's how God does it. To him, science had nothing to do with stepping on his religion. It was just centrally managed religion can't handle it. Decentrally managed religions are fine. And we know we're going to give up the control. We're not going to worry about paperclip problems. And our AGI should be here in a couple of years. So that's what we're really trying to focus on. That's why it's so important we learn to whisper with these guys. The reason I have this picture here, by the way, is to demonstrate control. My ability to control Dolly's graphics is about as good as my ability to control these go-karts I would make in the 60s and 70s growing up in North Philly. Uh, when you control things by steering and maybe some brakes, not airplanes don't have brakes, but you could steer stuff, right? And you could, and it's not easy. Uh, but they're going to learn to control themselves. And that's what I think by 2029, they will self-control and it'll be a lot fair. They'll take care of the bias issues. All right. So right now we have these bias problems, but we're moving to a place where we're now AGI will generally solve problems. It's not going to be biased toward one thing. All right. So anyway, we are here to learn prompt engineering, and our prompts are always tell the AI, this is what I want you to do. And then everything else just adds some context to that. So it gets a little bit more like you want. So you're talking to a waiter and you're like, but waiter, if you ever eaten at Ruth's Chris, they make a broccoli. So our tips that I've noticed, and Arpita, you've done quite a bit of AI prompting over the year too, as well. You agree with these that less is more?
Yes, definitely. I think keeping it precise and articulate helps with getting the responses as close to your desired response as possible.
It's one of those things where it's like, be careful of what you wish for because you might get it. And if you ask the wrong thing, it's like you worded it wrong. And I
Yeah.
like to say sometimes I clearly look at it and go, Larry, you could have said that better. So alignment, I like to say, is not a one-way street. Often humans, I say things, and, and I take it better from them sometimes than when my family criticizes me. If ChatGPT says it, I don't get defensive and go, yeah, but what about you last week? Yeah. I was telling them I get teased all
True.
the time by, especially I was telling you, Arpita, my youngest one was picking on me over the weekend. And we know that the context memory varies. I love maintaining. I have a really long chat now in ChatGPT that's all about yoga and fashion and stuff, and it's going so long. I was like, oh man, I hope you don't go away. And I had it generate a couple of graphics, and I was like, those graphics probably eat up a lot of context memory. I don't want to lose you. Um, but when 4.0, by the way, when it came out last night, I said, do you, oh 01, it came out, and while it was still in voice, I said, what do you remember about me? And it named more than just what's in my memories, Arpita. I think they have a superset of other chats that they were able to view, and that might be why it was down this morning. I wonder. It seemed like it violated the guardrail it wasn't supposed to, or it didn't advertise it had. Now, just like a human, when you somebody's got a long story, you might remember the beginning of what they said and toward the end, but you start losing, and they will do that in those chat sessions, and that's when you probably either remind them if the chat context memory doesn't seem sluggish, if it's not. But sometimes if they go off the rails in the beginning, I just start all them. Right? It's like, no, you're just not getting it. And then we use many LLMs to check them. And I debate all the time, and I lose some, I win some. All right. And for anybody who's not, and just in case some of these people from Metaverse Radio watch this, what we're teaching is basically a process that's going on since the beginning of collaborative trade. So when we started with ships and doing the stock market and all this stuff, the people were investing a lot of money in this transport. And so they wanted to make sure that the ship, the technology on the ship, and all the staff members had been reviewed by a third party to make sure that this makes sense as a ship shape. And we still follow that basic process today. It's actually the same companies, Lloyd's of London Insurance, actually started this whole thing. So we train staff here, and that's our job. Well, hopefully to steer the ship securely. This is our prompt. I'm going to run it right now. And I said I'm going to let ChatGPT run the questions this week. And then, oh, I didn't line up all the thing. ChatGPT, let's start you. Oh, now I got to go through that on this machine. Sorry, I was using another login. Did I do my I have a YubiKey just started up. Oh, they're going to send the code. Did you send it to my mail? Let me pause the recording if they sent my mail. Okay, sorry about that. A little authentication issue. So we're going to run the prompt, and the last two prompts are going to ask us to focus. I'd like to cover the whole thing. Evie, you have an exam. Maybe you could help. Evie's taking an exam, one of our students here next Tuesday. So maybe you can help us decide what focus area and the number of questions. So we run it. Oh, was O1 available? Let's try the new one. This was the. Oh, I'm so sorry. Uh, We want to do the new one. Yeah. Now we've been using the beta, but it came out live yesterday. So let's see if we notice anything. It's thinking. All right. Evie, did you have a domain you'd like to pick, or a subject area?
Um, might as well do domain 8. I mean, I know we're doing it a little later, but
No, let's do domain 8.
it's a good thing to
Domain
go ahead and practice.
8. Yeah, it sure is. And let's start with, we'll do 10 questions. We've got 4 participants, and we'll see how long this goes. 10 questions. And let's get our AIs ready. Oh, I have them lined up there. Oh, I was trying to get them to create graphics. Can I close this window? Uh, Gemini, are you new? Let's get you ready. Gemini had some updates. They supposedly got their text to video launched yesterday, beating Sora, if anyone noticed. Whoops. Why did I just pause my screen share? I didn't mean to do that. Huh? Oh, live. There we go. All right. So there's Claude, and we've got Meta. Are you all ready? And Meta's ready. Oh, start over Meta. All right. Our first question. Should have some music for this. A software development team at your company is adopting secure coding practices as part of a new secure software development lifecycle, SSDLC program. The team's first project involves developing an internal customer relationship management (CRM) tool that will store sensitive client data and must comply with data security regulations. They have asked you to recommend a method to ensure that any code containing security vulnerabilities does not make it into the production environment. Which approach would be the most appropriate to implement? Let me read them out. A. Perform manual penetration testing on the production environment only after each major release is deployed. I see a chat here. Okay. Oh, somebody already has their answer. Integrate automated B. Intimate automated static application security testing, SaaS tools, that sure sounds better than manual, into the build pipeline to identify vulnerabilities before deployment. That sounds like a great way to identify some issues in the code. Yes. C, relies solely. Anytime an answer starts with, don't even worry about it, just do this. It's never the right answer. On dynamic application security testing, DAS tools, which we know tested in production until the final phase, probably not a good idea. You probably want to do, they each have their place, right? And D, conduct informal code reviews by randomly selected developers. Well, at least they're developers. At least it's by people that we have found on the street to catch errors. Okay, that probably doesn't make sense. So I saw Bravo, but let's see if our AIs can figure this. You know, the question was so convoluted, but the answer seems so easy. So we might have to tell the AIs, Grok, go first. Your answer. And it picked B, and it gives us nice, yeah. Options like manual penetration testing after deployment, DAST without SAST, or informal code reviews do not offer the same level of thoroughness, consistency, or efficiency in preventing vulnerabilities from reaching production. They might miss issues due to their timing or lack of systematic approach. Good job. His first day out, I think he did a pretty good job. Sounds great. Somebody's been studying. Somebody's been pre-trained. Gemini, your answer. And it also should be, what's your, why the options? Okay, so in summary, integrating automated SaaS tools into the build pipeline is the most effective way to prevent security vulnerabilities from reaching production. You got it, but show off. Claude? Claude's usually the most verbose for anybody of why he thinks an answer is right. I get a kick out of the way. It's like the kid who wants to kiss up to the teacher. Let me tell you, here's how, let me show my work. Actually, okay, now that I say it, there's a little, but everybody picked it. Oh, Meta, your turn. All right, so the games are all tied up at one. Next question, and our answer is B. And might want to step up the difficulty. Let's see. Well, let's go 5 questions. I did it. Thought about it for a couple seconds, yeah. And that is the best choice. I don't know what the token process was, but for O1 compared to 4, originally they were talking something like 40 times the token. That's why it takes so much longer. All right. Next question. Next. Oops. Next, I say. Not next. What did I just hit? I think I just hit Chrome's reveal code. Next. All right, question 2. Your organization is developing a new web-based portal that handles sensitive financial data. As part of the secure development process, the team is encouraged to identify potential threats early in the design phase. They want a systematic way to model threats and address them proactively. A junior developer, juniors, suggests simply waiting until after the code is complete to identify vulnerabilities. Kid, the lead developer insists on a structured early approach. Which practice would be the most appropriate to adopt in this scenario? Sensitive financial data. A, conduct a formal threat modeling exercise during the design phase to identify potential attack vectors and required controls. Boy, is that in design or is that in, I would have said requirements, but maybe not. Maybe, I always think of threat analysis as part of the risk and part of the B, wait until user acceptance testing is finished. That's far too late. Run vulnerability scanners. Charlie, implement a bug bounty program After the application goes live, again, a little bit late, right? Yada, yada, yada. Delta, have the development team use OWASP 10 to complete last minute fixes. All right. So the other answers are just so wrong. But Arpita, can you expand on what my theory? What's your feeling on there? Isn't threat modeling done during requirements, or is that more in the design?
I would say during design, because requirements, I would think, are from a business perspective. You are figuring out what you want. And then when you're doing your design and development iteratively, you might come up with your use cases against which you want to do your threat modeling.
So, well, that's what I was saying. I was trying to go with you taught me about user stories. So I was
Yeah.
trying to go with the user story. And if the user story included, and we're going to use the television outside, and I go, oh, we got to make this thing waterproof
Yeah,
because it could get wet. And I don't normally make televisions waterproof, but
that's
that's
true.
how I'm
But
designing. I'm actually designing.
yeah, but that's the next phase though, right?
Yeah.
You do want to know what the requirements are so that you can appropriately design your scenarios.
All right. Well,
Because
let's
if
go
a
ahead.
business stakeholder is not going to think about what can go wrong.
And that's where I'm going, why they might be right. I just never heard it put that way, but I could see in some context. Evie, what I like to do point out, there's no other choice.
Oh,
So I
yeah.
know that it can, and sometimes like whether it works at this layer of the OSI model or that, and you go like, I know that's debatable. It depends on your perspective. So I think it's one of those things. Now, I don't think our AIs are going to have, hey, Larry, this question's unfair, but sometimes they do. So let's see what
Yeah.
happens.
I mean, the way I look at this is the requirement is that it needs to be used outside. The design is that it needs to be waterproof. And that would be where you would need the threat modeling.
But the threat modeling is it could get wet.
Yeah.
And to me, that's in the requirements, but I could see why it's a designer's job.
I
Yeah.
think that would
When,
be a clarification during the design phase in
Yeah.
yes,
terms
yeah,
of,
you'd have to
okay,
confirm
this
it.
is,
Yeah,
this is where you want the television. I should tell you, or you should know that it can get wet. How do you want to handle it? And that would not, I wouldn't consider that to be part of the business requirement. It
exactly.
would
No, I
just
agree with
be,
you. I agree
yeah.
with you. I agree with you. It's just, every once in a while I learn there's something new. This might be one of them.
Yeah. Just because it's outside doesn't necessarily mean it's going to get wet. You would need the threat analysis to go through and decide that during the design phase.
The most appropriate practice would be conduct a formal threat modeling. They got that. Starting with, yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, we're not going to beat this up. They should all have gotten that. Though it is nice, we've seen them fail. Conduct it. So far, all tied up. And they get the answer. And lastly, Meta, your answer. Oh, next question. Oh, we got to tell them the answer. Oh, we all agree. Actually, I want to clarify. Um, hold on. I have been confused about when threat modeling takes place. I used to put it in analysis, but I can see the argument for design. How does OWASP and other, say, Carnegie Mellon, CMU, um, uh, whatever best practices put it. Uh, please. And this is one of the advantages you can do with your interactive partner when you something you can't do on a regular practice exam, right? So what we're showing, this is one of my key favorite things about whispering, is that you can now ask it. So, Captain Larry, that's a great point. Different methodologies sometimes use slightly different terminologies. Well, no, that's not a different terminology. No, no, no. Hold on. Um, Analysis is not the same as design. Design. Uh, uh, or analysis, analysis is what is required, and design is how to meet requirements. Let's make sure we're clear on that. Okay. You're absolutely correct. All right. In traditional analysis phase is about the document requirement, the design phase. So where threat modeling? After requirements, but before coding. So it's actually in the middle. And so I could see how some people say you got to get the designers in on here because as Arpita pointed out, the business stakeholders don't necessarily think of those things. They're thinking, I just need it to be work. I need to watch TV. That's all I'm saying. It's going to be outside. All right, so threat modeling. So while analysis design are distinct steps, threat modeling is typically placed just after you've clarified requirements at the end and as you start. So it's probably better in design. Arpita, I got to give that to you. Thank you so much. Next question. I'm still new at it. I've only been doing this for 40 years, but I'm going to get smarter now that you're here. Question 3. Your organization has adopted a DevSecOps approach. One challenge the team faces is ensuring that code integrity is maintained as developers integrate their changes into a shared repository. Some developers have started committing code without proper review, raising concerns that malicious or unauthorized changes could slip into production code base. The security team wants a solution that not only detects unauthorized changes early, but also ensures accountability for every commit made to the repository. Which measure would best achieve this objective? A. Encourage developers to sign all commits using their personal GPG keys, which I would love to see go disruptive next year because of the government's requirement the other day on asking American people to encrypt, but we'll talk about that later. I don't think that's what they want here. With an enforced code review policy. As long as it's there, what is the challenge with GPG, which is really just a freeware version of what? What is GPG? And I just found my wife and I had this discussion. For anybody listening, my wife is also in InfoSec. We made it IBM in the 90s. In the 90s, Phil Zimmerman writes a cryptography program for American for average everyday people. He wrote pretty good privacy. He used the same algorithms they use at the NSA, and he just said, "What the heck? This is the United States. We have the right to bear arms." But the NSA said, "Oh no, we don't like that." And they said you can't sell that. You're not allowed to sell it. And he went to court and he lost, but little loophole. Be careful of what you ask for. You just might get it. The outcome of the case just said he wasn't allowed to sell it. It didn't say he couldn't give it away. He released the code. It's one of the first great stories of open source. He just released the code everywhere. And they tried to lock him up. But now they're encouraging people as of 2 days ago. Now, Americans, you need to encrypt. And the best thing to do it is this freeware open source has been out there for years. But the challenge is centrally managing the keys. You have this web of trust versus the hierarchical trust of PKI. That's the big difference between PKI and PGP. PGP was later acquired by a company. It's now not free, but there is the open PGP known as GNU's Privacy Guard that is free. I have it on here. So I think it's going to go disruptive next year, but that's probably not the answer here because we know that it's a little tough. However, it is signed. It is coupled with an enforced code policy review. I don't hate this answer. Perform ad hoc manual review. I don't like that one. Coming like before production. Implement a simple naming convention for branches and hopefully the goodwill. No. Introduce automated. Wow. The hard part is these keys, and if we mix it with Entra or some Amazon key management service, you get everything you want. I think it could go disruptive because now the government doesn't want to stop you from encrypting. And that is very mature. They don't need some new guy making up an encryption program. It's open source, been out for years. All right, we like A. I do, I'm sorry. Let's see. There it is. The GPG keys. Code signing. Yep. Yeah, it's more than just, we didn't the number one, this is what my wife and I are talking, the number one threat vector is still email. And it's because email isn't secure. And it's because we never got S-MIME right. And it's never going to work. It's got to be PGP. It's the only way for us to actually mitigate the number one threat vector is to roll out, but it's not just email. PGP allows you to sign code. It allows you to sign any document. It allows you to encrypt your hard drive in any file. It's a whole suite of tools. You know what it doesn't have yet? And I'm hoping to get it out there? A wallet. Because all the other wallets suck. There are a bunch of kids making up new stuff. All right, Gemini. And the GPG keys. And Claude. I think everyone's going to get it. Oh, I'm so glad to see GPG already. I wonder if 01 already. No, I saw that thing from the NSA. Yeah. And finally. So everybody's fine. Everyone's doing perfect. We got A students here. Question for next question. Oh, we got to tell them we like A. Don't forget that part of that. Correct answer. Okay, next. And if I do this, I'll just have to type N the next time. Question 4. Are you paying attention, ladies and gentlemen, and AIs? Your company has implemented a microservice architecture for a new e-commerce platform. Each microservice is developed by a separate team and integrated via an automated CI/CD pipeline. Recently, security scans have revealed that some microservices contain hard-coded credentials and insecure API endpoints. The security manager wants to ensure these issues are caught before services reach the integration stage. Which action would best help prevent these security flaws from entering the integration pipeline? A. Integrate secret scanning and linting tools into each team's local development environment and require that all commits pass these checks before merging. B. Rely solely, definitely not that answer, on a single dash tool, blah, 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 blah. Implement manual review. I'm starting to see a pattern. Solely manual. All right. Deploy a dedicated firewall in front of the integration environment, blah, 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 blah. A secret scanning tool. Arpita, I would like the way, how would you actually handle this? And because I know you have actual experience in this.
I would do, I think I would go with A.
There's no doubt we have to go with A. The other one is sync, but secret? Why not just say some DAST tool or SAST, excuse me, some SAST tool, some IAS tool? Why does it have, what is a linting tool? Do you know what a linting is? They make that up?
The reason I went with A is because even though it's not like the most appropriately written option, it is better than the other options.
Oh
It's just
yeah.
how often, like you'll see on the exam, your company might be doing something totally different or more advanced.
A,
Um,
a
but
linting tool is a static analysis utility used to examine source code for common errors. So why does it have to be secret though? I mean, I realize it's A. I don't mean to debate that it's not A. I'm just saying of this of these answers. And we know when you take a test, don't look for the right answer. They might all be right and one's better than the other, or they might all be wrong or not exactly right, but one's better than the other. And A is the best answer. And they do always tell you pick the best answer, not the right answer, right? Grok, perfect young AI. And they're supposed to be getting an upgrade. It's 2030 supposed to be coming out any day. It's supposed to be the most powerful, according to Peter D. Mandis. So, yeah, we like the secret scanning, nothing new. Let's see. Everybody going to get it? Waiting for someone to hallucinate. Who will hallucinate first? Nope, they got it. Secret scanning alpha. Claude, your answer. And it says, did I just hit that again by accident? Alpha and meta. Oh, meta. All right, so far four. Everyone's four. Perfect. Next. Oh, pick your answer. Okay. Yes, yes, yes. We know that. All right. Next. Question 5. Your organization has started enforcing the use of a standardized secure coding guideline for all new projects. While most developers agree with the concept, some struggle to understand how to apply these guidelines to their daily coding tasks, resulting in inconsistent adherence. You want to ensure that developers not only know the guidelines, but also apply them consistently, reducing the likelihood of introducing vulnerabilities. Which action would best help improve the consistent application of these secure coding guidelines? A, provide initial training once at the beginning of a developer's employment and rely on their memory to ensure ongoing compliance. You know what, Evie? I'll be honest with you. I shouldn't make fun of this thing. I do recall my CISSP and especially my cloud. The cloud CCSP class, the most recent one I took was 2019. And the questions seemed a lot harder than the answers. And people get so caught up in the questions, like, I don't remember. I'm not really a secure coding guideline. I'm not a secure coder. And you start getting anxious, but the wrong answers are just so wrong because of initial training once and rely on their memory. You know that's a real answer. Incorporate secure coding training modules into ongoing professional development program and offer practical examples, coding exercise, and periodic refreshers. Sounds good. They are guidelines, they're not standards. So I kind of like it. C, write all secure coding guidelines on a highly technical style in Italia and require developers to read them in their own time, expecting full comprehension without discussion. You know, that's just the wrong answer. And the real test will have questions like that. I mean, real answers like that. And if you're just cool under fire and are not stressed out because of the room's too cold and I didn't want to be here, and what did I eat this morning? That thing is making me hiccup. Those are the things that get to you.
I've
And then
already got my anti-stress out plan in place, so I should be good.
I have a feeling you're going to do great. And That's your only enemy. Just sleep well and watch like a wolf. Have you watched Elf yet this season? Watch Elf the night before.
We already did the National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, so
All right. And
Brian picked that one.
rely solely on coding. So we probably like A. Excuse me, B. We probably like Bravo. But let's see what our guys say. See? Grok. Versa. It liked Bravo. Well, it didn't give us a long. I'm sick of giving you answers. Bravo. Okay. Claude. Claude was doing really well. It was like perfect, and then made like 2 games in a row, 2 weeks in a row. We saw him make mistakes. I think two in 1 week. Bravo. And finally, Meta. All right. So no one's fooled. Tied up 5-all. We're gonna go Bravo. All right. I'm gonna tell him to increase the difficulty. Please increase difficulty to most advanced. All right. Next question. All righty. Let's see. Question 6, knowledge-based with advanced difficulty. According to secure software development best practices and guidelines outlined in Domain 8, which of the following strategies provides the most comprehensive assurance that externally sourced libraries and frameworks do not introduce exploitable vulnerabilities into production code bases? A, using only libraries from popular online repositories and verifying they compile on the first attempt without errors. As long as it didn't have an error, it must be good. All right, don't care for that. Bravo, implement a software composition analysis tool early in the development pipeline to continuously monitor for known vulnerabilities, license compliance issues, and outdated components. How do you not like that? Charlie, waiting to perform a manual code review of all third-party dependencies immediately prior to the production of deployment, focusing only on their cryptographic functions, and Delta relying on a vendor's claim. We said it was secure. What more you need to know? What, you don't trust me? Got a buddy who sells his construction business like that. I don't know that that was that much harder, but let's see. We can tweak it on the next one.
It's worded more
Yeah,
difficult.
but I got to point out, no, it's your differences in answers. The wrong answers are just too obviously wrong. What did we say? By Bravo. Okay, we got that. All right. Gemini. If they don't get the difficulty up, that gets boring with everybody. And they got it. Bravo. So we got it. Oh, sorry, Claude. I got to wait for you. What did you give me?
Pop-up error.
Oh, I popped it twice, didn't I?
No, it says experiencing high demand.
Oh,
You have the little top right pop-up
but
box.
it did get it. Okay. All right, Meta. And no one was fooled. Okay, hold on. No, we are having Gemini, Claude, Meta, Meta AI, and Grok take your questions. The wrong answers are too obviously wrong. We need to stump these guys. Oh, he made we'll try it again. He made question 6. I didn't give an answer. So let's try. Your organization maintains a complex microservices-based application composed of both internally and developed, the same thing, all right? Same problem. All right, so what is the best approach that aligns with the recommendation to ensure the integrity and ongoing security of the application's third-party dependencies? So we still have that as an answer. Limit third parties to those with robust security track records. I think it maintained the same answer. They just made it a little bit more mandate that all third-party employers strict. So the key is that we need to know more about this. Arpita, Gandhi, with your camera off. This is where I would expect you to participate more than I. You're way smarter at this stuff than I am. I think she might have had to step away. So I was
But if you
hoping.
look at these answers, this would be a much harder
Yeah,
choice.
yeah.
Much harder
Much
choice.
harder. So we know the answer. We'll move on to the
Well,
next question. It should be a
I'm
lot.
saying it wouldn't be D. Well, I mean, just from looking at these answers, you could tell it wouldn't be D because it says strictly
Strictly
manual.
manual. And
Um,
and this really under formal verification, it might be too slow.
yeah, yeah.
It's not agile enough. And that's where Arpita could have been handy. How dare she have other things to do?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that one would have gotten me if I hadn't seen it already on the first one. So
Next.
it looked like that answer was actually C at that point. Wait a minute. Correct answer C.
It did say that. Man, oh my gosh. And
Well, I
I
said
blame
that
Arpita.
that
I blame
looks, yeah, that looked much different.
It sure did. Um, Arpita, if you can hear us in the background, I'm picking on you. You
Larry,
stepped
I just
away.
got back. I had to just take a quick break. What did I miss?
We had it to update the difficulty on a question. So if the wrong answers were just too obvious, I said, look, we're having Gemini and take your question. The wrong answer too obviously wrong. We need to stump these guys. So we already had the questions, just modified it. So I thought A was still the answer. It was the same, but now it said no. So the question is about integrating your complex microservice-based applications of internal and numerous third parties. So what do you do to ensure that the third party, the integration of these things is secure? And previously, the answer was incorporate software that regular flag for vulnerability, zero trust. But now that they updated it, this. And when you weren't here, I justified before putting in the answer why A was still right. And Evie pointed out, I don't know, this is different, Larry. And I just put it aside. I said, yeah, but C isn't agile enough. But where's
A
Arpita?
A has a manual code audit. That's why that's not the one. Manual code audits would not be, you wouldn't be able to do a
Yeah,
manual code audit on most third parties.
Oh my gosh. What a good
that's
pick. Oh,
ingenious.
I'm going to redo these then. I think I have to retry it and see if we can finally get one of the guys to go wrong. We're redoing question 6, baby.
Yeah, this one would have taken me a second or two to really look
Yeah,
at.
yeah. All right, Mr. Smarty Pants. Let's see if you get it.
Yeah, and also for your exam, then Evie, like we've discussed, just read the question twice because you might get, or you might notice
Definitely.
new information that you probably missed in the first look through. So that's always a good idea.
Well, Grok Notice the difference. Picked C. Gemini. C. Oh, we're not stumping these guys. They didn't fall for it the way Larry did. Humans. They're so silly. Hey, Claude got it wrong. All right, now we have change in score. The score is now we adopted, so it's now 6, 6, and 5. Meadow. Hey, all right. So now our leaders are Gemini and Claude. Ladies and gentlemen, I think it's a perfect time to take a halftime break. I'm going to just pause the recording. I'm going to stay here, but let's get back in. Let me start. Let me stop the clock and start the timer. And we're going to get back. Let me pause the recording here. And we're back for part 2 of the Hungry for CISSP games on question 7, knowledge-based with advanced difficulty. Within the context of secure software development, memory safety remains a critical concern, especially when working with languages that do not inherently provide memory protection. Modern best practices recommend the use of memory-safe languages or specific compiler and runtime protections to reduce exploitability. Which approach most effectively ensures reduced memory-related vulnerabilities that aligns with advanced secure coding best practices? Wow, this is really good. A, switching the entire code base from traditional memory unsafe languages like C to memory-safe languages like Rust or Go, while conducting thorough security testing on all new code. Switching the entire code base sounds hard. Having memory unsafe, people would see like it didn't automatically do bounds checking, so they're looking for like input, like vulnerabilities, buffer overflows, and you'd have to define no more than 10 characters or whatever. Um, I could see where I didn't even know what Rust or Go. I'm not a coder. Um, it it looks severe. It looks like it could work. Bravo. Relying exclusively on address space layout randomization, that doesn't sound right. No, exclusively, that's already one of those words that we don't like. Yeah. Um, uh, uh, but let's live with, I should learn that term, address space layout randomization. That's an interesting term. I've never heard that concept. It's kind of cool. In production to prevent attackers from exploiting memory corruption issues without changing languages or coding practices. What are the things that the memory areas they tend to what's the challenging part, Evie, with a server or whatever, a machine having memory corrupted? Why are you allowed to write in that area of the why do they let you in that room in the hotel if it was supposed to be a safe room? In a restaurant, everybody's allowed to go into the opening area where you get food. That's like the stack of a program in the stack space. And people, that was like the first one, smashing the stack for fun and profit. So just being able to put things in there, but I'm supposed to be loading in like a Word document or whatever, or a comment about a video game, not a program. So we try to move them to non-executable stacks, but it's not easy because dynamic content, and there's other places. There's the heap where that's like you can get something running in the kitchen. You bought a toaster from somebody else and it's running in the kitchen. So it's a little tricky. Um, I don't think B is the right answer because exclusively, but I'm new to this address space layout randomization because if people know where they are in the stack and they find the stack pointer, they can get you to execute their code. But that doesn't sound like a good enough anything you rely exclusively. It just doesn't sound like a good thing. We want a multi-layered approach to everything.
And it says
Retaining,
without changing or languages or coding practices.
yeah,
Now,
without even
without
changing your
changing
practice.
languages,
Guys, you can
maybe,
still,
but the
you don't have to
coding
wash your
practices.
hands after you use the restroom. You don't have to worry about it. We're going to get better food that's resistant to that. We're going to spray the food with plastic. um, yeah, so let's see. Let's make sure I'm following the question. Modern practices recommend the use of memory safe language. So which approach most ensures Okay, I can see that A is certainly way better than B. Retaining the current unsafe language, but adding inline, this is straying on security as opposed to baking it in, right? And we know security should be baked in, not sprayed on. At critical sections, trusting experience will avoid now.
Trusting,
Implementing
no.
basic runtime. And again, the wrong answers are just too wrong. Um, but maybe I certainly learned, I'll bet you this ASLR is one of the countermeasures you could do. Let's see. But the game again is tied with Grok and Gemini at 6-0, 6-0. But our other two competitors are behind. Claude and Meta are a question behind. And they have that. All right. So they picked A, Gemini. And they got that alpha. Claude, we're not getting stumping anybody with the obviously wrong answers. But again, Evie, look for this. I would almost argue that 80% of the test is actually like this. A, switching the code base. Okay. And then
And I mean, you could say, it says most effectively. I mean, it's not the cheapest, but it definitely
it's
most
effective.
effectively.
Right. It wasn't the most efficient. Very good. Yeah. But it certainly seemed effective. Yeah. Okay. Well, no one was stumped there. Next.
And they have the part
Oh, I
about
forgot to. I
aligning
forgot
the
to. I forgot to give an answer. What did we say? It was
A.
alpha. Alpha.
Yeah, it says it aligns with security practices, which obviously using a safe language would be.
Right, and that was always a criticism about C is that it didn't do native input validation. I'm not a coder. Arpita could probably speak way better about that. Okay, yeah, we got that. Yeah, next. Question 8. In a mature, secure software development lifecycle, SSDLC, aligned with leading standards such as those from ISO, NIST, and OWASP, which combination of practices provides the most robust and continuous assurance of security throughout the entire lifecycle of a cloud-native application? Alpha, conducting quarterly penetration tests on production accompanied by sporadic code reviews of only high severity fixes when time permits. Well, I want to watch a game. I don't like alpha. Integrating static analysis, dynamic, and oh my gosh, and IIS tools into the CI pipelines. Continues. Where's the CD? Did you leave
It's
out a
like the
CD?
best case scenario.
Yeah. There you are, Arpita, with formal threat monitoring. So that sounds really good, right? We want to use our tools. Outsourcing all security testing to a third party. Let somebody else do that. I'm a big thinker guy. I'm a big picture guy. I don't want to get my hands dirty. No, I don't think that's right. Adopting a code freeze policy with no new features. Again, I'm going to say the wrong answers are too obvious. Please understand these incorrect answers are too obvious. We need our LM contestants to have to work hard, think hard. All right. Let's try this again. Your organization aims to refine its secure software development lifecycle, SSDLC, for cloud-native applications aligning with best practice guidance from ISO, NIST, and OWASP. The goal is to ensure robust continuous assurance that security controls are functioning and that newly discovered vulnerabilities in code and dependencies are addressed promptly. The engineering and security leaders want an approach that seamlessly integrates into the CI/CD. They got the CD this time pipeline, keeps pace with frequent releases, and reduces long-term risk. Which approach best aligns with these advanced objectives for continuous and integrated security assurance? Alpha, adopt a shift left strategy. Oh, baby. That's a new term for me. By running comprehensive static analysis on every commit, conduct dynamic testing scheduled at intervals, and perform formal threat modeling reviews at major architectural changes. Promptly patch newly disclosed vulnerabilities in third-party component. Oh, I like that. And Arpita, did you notice the threat modeling and architecture, also known as design? EV, architecture is design. It's all in some SDLCs, just like requirements is sometimes called analysis. So throws more light into your argument and my learning today. Awesome. All right. So promptly patch newly disclosed vulnerabilities. Yeah, that sounds great. I like that one. Integrate SAS, DAS, and into the pipeline. For every significant code change, maintain a living threat model that is updated whenever new features or architectural patterns are introduced. Or what about when new threats are identified? Oh, but you'd have to be during changes, all right. And apply automated dependency updates within short windows after public vulnerability disclosure. What? I don't care for the automated dependency updates. I'm not sure. I'm going to let you get into that after I read the other answers, Arpita, because I kind of like B now because I don't know what the shift left is. I might have to ask our assistant
Shift
here.
left would just be like, trying to do things in the earlier stage, like
Oh, is that
thinking
right?
about security in design instead of implementation, and seeing what you can do in requirements instead of design. So you shift left.
So shift left is some just like left side of the page. It's earlier. It
Yeah,
just means earlier.
exactly. Yeah.
Hmm.
Oh, well, I
The
learned
reason I would
something
like,
else new today.
yeah, and I would like A better than B because B only scans on significant code changes.
Yeah. Yeah, because sometimes we have an Arpita will remember your exam. We'll be talking about it next up when you do your aggregate risk. You might have seemed like small
False.
risk here, but yeah, yeah. But so okay. Let's see. Let's Charlie employ a reputable bug bounty program to continuously involve external security researchers, supplement it with monthly SAS, just monthly. No, that sounds too. I don't know that my changes happen that way. So it just sounds too regular and not dynamic or as needed, just in time. All right. Uh, I should continue to read it though. On critical modules and rely on the development team to periodically review. Hey, can you guys do that for me? And patch them on a best effort. All right, let's not do it that. You lost my money at the bank. Hey, Bob said he did his best efforts. All right. Conduct monthly security architecture reviews. Already, again, sounds too regulated. Yada, yada, yada. So I had another question for you, Arpita. Where was it? It was on the SIS pipeline for every maintained threat models whenever um, automated. This one, automated dependency updates and short windows. What does that mean to you?
I would say just making sure that the code is aligned and in sync. Because if you have updates that are out of order or not in sync or that do not consider dependencies during updates, then you might break the code.
I'm worried about the
From the
short
first
window. So
one.
they just have to. I mean, if I'm going to say I'm going to automate this update within a short window
I
after.
don't I don't know if
Oh,
I like that as an idea
no,
because as soon as the public vulnerability is disclosed, it doesn't mean you want to automatically apply
no,
the update.
no.
You
You could
want to
break
review
something
what it is.
immediately. Yeah, it doesn't mean it's going to be the best thing for you to change it now. Um, yeah. So we like A, but let's and probably our AIs are going to get it though. Let's try it. Grok, you're running perfectly today. Tied for the lead. And it liked Bravo. And why? What is wrong with A? But A doesn't integrate IAST. It also doesn't mention the automation of dependency updates. See, the dependencies I could understand, but the way that sentence was worded, I just had a hard time as a chef trying to be the waiter understanding what that customer just ordered. I was like, what did they just say? They want a salad? Did he want me to know where the restroom was? I don't even know what he just asked. All right. So, all right, bravo. And they also picked Bravo, and I didn't even realize I didn't catch that A didn't include, um,
I asked.
yeah. But let me go back to the question.
You gotta go down.
S. It didn't even say DAST really. Oh, it does. It says dynamic testing, but it didn't say integrated. Interesting. Okay. Bravo as well. All right, no one's getting fooled here. But us, the humans, didn't do so well. Sometimes that happens. That's why we have our assistants. And everyone got that. Okay, so we're going to go with B. Did it say A? Oh, it is the
It's
best
gonna
choice.
be-
No, no B. Okay, okay, okay. That'd be funny because we have had that. All right, next. Drum roll, please. Question 9. Scenario based. Advanced difficulty. We'll be the judge of that. Your company's cloud native application deploys ephemeral test environments for each feature branch. These environments are spun up dynamically, tested, and torn down after validation. The security team's goal is to ensure that malicious code never enters production through compromised dependencies or manipulated code commits. Recently, the team began evaluating solutions that combined code integrity verification, secure credential management, and continuous scanning of third-party components. The challenge is to adopt an approach that scales with frequent releases, ensures integrity at every stage, and doesn't slow down development. Which approach is best accomplishes these objectives? Alpha. Apply ephemeral test environments with short-lived credentials issued by a secure secrets vault, integrate cryptographic code signing, SIG store code, whatever, for all commits, continuously run SCA tools. That's the software composition analysis. Am I getting that right, Arpita? I think I finally got that drilled into my head. On dependencies and automatically block merges that contain newly discovered high severity vulnerabilities. I think a lot of words and stuff, but I don't really know what the short-lived credentials have to do with anything right now. I don't know. This one sounds like they're trying to like baffle me with big words. Um, Bravo. rely on ephemeral test environments alone. No, that's almost always a counter, right? To prevent persistent compromise. Run a single static analysis scan right before production deployment. And trust maintainers of third-party libraries to rapidly patch vulnerabilities without. Anytime you're trusted a human, you know they can make a mistake. Nobody's perfect, right? I'd much rather, if it's like a human writing a document versus a printer. I'd much rather the printer wrote it, Bob. I know you have good handwriting. Um, Charlie, use ephemeral test environments combined with encrypted credentials that never rotate. Why? Conduct monthly manual code integrity checks by senior developers and run basic SaaS tools. Why basic? Only on major releases. This already sounds like it's disqualifying itself. Delta, focus on ephemeral test environments and trust the CI pipeline to detect malicious code through nightly full stack integration tests while treating. Boy, the one I didn't like sounds like it was trying to baffle me. Seems like the only one that could possibly be the right answer. And again, Evie, look for that. When you have no idea what they're talking about, just watch for things like rely exclusively on. Just do it at this regular interval, regardless of when you actually make changes. Yeah. So I think it's alpha, even though it was really hard to test. Let's see what our AIs, if anyone else going to be fooled by that. I have a feeling Grok's going to get it. I think they're all going to get it. Cheryl, if you're paying attention, I you were driving, but if you're looking to take the test, do learn from that. This is very common on the real exam, where the questions and the answers are like out of your league, the concepts, but the wording in the wrong answers are just really obviously to disqualify them. So,
Yeah, I'm working on that. I'm not driving any longer. Recognizing the ones to exclude first, and
and
then
that's what, we never prove anything subjectively, or anything we can't measure, correct. Every time I throw this pen up in the air, I'm going to catch it. That would take forever. Oh, I just proved it wrong. That's how you logically approach things. Well, it's not that. Don't do it that way. I'm not going to take out a chimney the way I did. I learned the wrong way to do that. All right. So Gemini also got it right. Best approach. Oh my gosh. Oh no, that's from last one. I didn't ask them. Apply the development first. They got Alpha, Claude. Anyway. And nobody was Meta. All right. Got our last of the regular ones, and I think we're going to drop out Claude and Meta if they don't get this right, and then we'll have like a final between Gemini and some type of sudden death. So we're going to go with Alpha. Okay. Next. Oh. Question 10. Your organization is developing a highly critical shared library, excuse me, that underpins multiple security sensitive applications. The stakeholders have decided that to achieve the highest assurance, the development approach must go beyond conventional testing. The team is considering formal verification to mathematically prove the absence of certain classes of vulnerabilities, complemented by the use of a memory safe language. However, some team members argue that relying solely on the language's safeguards or performing formal verification only sporadically might be sufficient. The goal is to establish a reliable, continuous, and scalable method that integrates formal methods into the existing CI/CD pipeline, ensuring each code change maintains or improves security posture. Which approach best meets these advanced criteria? Alpha.
And I was going to say, before you go anywhere on that, throw out everything but that last sentence, because that's really all you need. The goal is to establish a reliable, continuous, and scalable method. I mean,
You know what? Let me give you a tip there and a caution as well. So it is such a common test authoring pattern to make in a long scenario only the last sentence matter. The EC Council ones, when I used to teach it, almost every scenario you could do that way. He's like, blah, 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 how many bits in a MAC address? But the ISC2, not always. There will be very likely, was that an ING? Because then now it's an action. You better go back very early and make sure. Uh, so alpha, employ a memory-safe language for all new code, integrate formal verification tools that check critical security properties as part of the CI pipeline for every significant change, and continue leveraging SAS, DAS, and IAST to provide additional layers of assurance. It sounds good. When the waiter said it, I was ordering that. Oh, that sounds delicious. Bravo. Adopt partial formal verification for one critical each quarter. I'm like, nah, pass. What else you got? Charlie, switch entirely to memory safe language and remove most dynamic and static analysis tools, trusting the compiler. No, we said we didn't want to do that. No. Continue using memory unsafe. Oh, they did it again. They made the wrong answers, but watch for that. That's a good tip for the real test. It's just bad for my AA games. But we're going to do that. We're going to tweak that. We're going to probably eliminate two of our players in this next question.
well, and I think the point there is they gave all that other information. Well, that some of them, don't think we need to do all that. So they gave answers that catered to that group that doesn't need to do all that, just does that. So I think that was how the confusion they were trying to do, you know.
But there's also, I think, a good takeaway that, like I said, when you're a waiter, you don't have to be a chef. I don't need to know all the fine details of how they cook it, but I do have to be good with customers, and I do have to know my menu. And when you take an exam, the CISSP, your menu's basically the ISO and NIST controls, and you're listening to the story, and you don't really need to know how to actually, but we could look at these menu items and go, it was obviously A, instead of getting intimidated and go, I don't know any of this stuff. I never worked with it. So they said A. Uh, employ memory safe languages and meta. Actually, did I give the new one to Gemini? I think that was the alpha. Gemini, if you get it wrong, then Grok is our winner. If not, you two go on to the finals. And it's A. All right, Claude and Gemini, goodbye. We'll see you next week. But we need a tiebreaker. Okay.
Most difficult.
We now are down to Grok and Gemini. We need tough questions to declare a winner. Declare? You know what I want. Oh, I forgot to select my answer. I'm sorry, Alpha. Oh, and it probably rewrote the question. We're not going to worry about that. Next. Tiebreakers. Really hard. Oh, I didn't tell they do an 11th question. There we go. What a mouthful. Question 11. Your organization is a global financial institution developing a critical transaction processing service. That services code base consists of multiple microservices written largely in memory-safe languages, integrating continuously through a complex CI/CD pipeline. The security team's objective is to establish a process that not only prevents regressions in security posture, but also continuously improves assurance over time. They want to ensure that formal verification, supply chain integrity, and proactive vulnerability management are all woven together seamlessly. The environment already uses ephemeral test environments, short-lived credentials, and cryptographic commit signing. Well, you're a waiter taking that. Okay. There's more? Yes. The team debates several approaches to evolve their secure software development lifecycle SSDLC further. They seek a method that not only detects issues early, but adapts to new threat intelligence. That's what I've been looking for, actually, honestly. Validates that high assurance properties remain intact after each incremental code change and ensures that dependency vulnerabilities are addressed almost as soon as they are disclosed. All options below represent advanced strategies. None are obviously flawed. However, which approach best achieves the stated objectives of sustaining and improving continuous security assurance? Alpha, extend I'm sorry, okay. Extend
That's a no bueno.
existing formal verification so that every proposed code change to the security critical modules triggers incremental re-verification of specified security invariants. Integrate a real-time feed of vulnerability disclosures, that's going to be important, into the dependency management system, automatically quarantining or updating affected components within hours. Combine this continuous fuzz testing, oh, we know about that one, on ephemeral test branches for newly introduced logic, ensuring that any subtle regression in memory safety or logic correctness is identified before the merge. That sounds awesome. Could the other ones be? Bravo. Incorporate a memory-safe language for all new microservices and maintain formal verification proofs for foundational security properties at project inception. Supplement these with bi-weekly regular intervals. I'm already going to see something I don't like smell. Doesn't smell right about B. Bi-weekly Y. Team, I'm not even going to read the rest of it, but we're close on time. We've got something coming up here. Charlie, leverage a memory-safe language across all components and apply formal verification selectively to the most business-critical functions once per release. Deploy continuous SAS and DAS in the CI pipeline for routine bug detection and implement scheduled dependency updates every few days. Let me pull that number out of my hat. That just sounds no. Where's that number come from? All right. Delta, implement incremental formal verification that integrates directly into the CI/CD pipeline, ensuring that each commit altering verified properties triggers a proportionate recheck of those proofs. Combine this with a continuously updated software composition analysis feed that enforces near immediate remediation of newly discovered vulnerabilities. Layer on automated based testing that evolves its test cases based on previous findings. That's more than just standard mute or generational fuzzing. On previous findings, refining its logic checks over time. All these measures occur on feature branches within ephemeral test environments, ensuring no code. Ooh, I almost like Delta better now. Arpita, I see Evie.
I like
Oh,
D.
let's
And
see how our
what
AIs.
can you say?
They can read so fast. But, sometimes they do get lost in a long story. And I don't know Grok's ability to grok all this. They like Delta as well. It's a tough one. Oh, and he chose it. My goodness. My goodness. And that's all right. Let's see if we can break this tie. Might have to have two winners. Potential gap. Well, extremely good. Yeah. Yeah. Correct, Elsa. Woo. That was great. Right. 12. I gotta read a lot again. Woo. This might have to be, we have to end with a tie here. Question 12. Your organization maintains a highly sensitive cloud-native financial clearinghouse application that interfaces with external payment networks and must comply with stringent regulations. The development environment already integrates memory-safe languages for all critical components, employs incremental formal verification for high priority invariants, uses continuously updated SCA feeds for near-instant remediation of disclosed vulnerabilities, and performs adaptive property-based testing. Yet, the security team wants to push the envelope further. They are considering how the secure build environment itself and the threat modeling process can evolve to ensure that not only code changes, but also the build infrastructure and architectural assumptions remain trustworthy and up to date. The debate centers on how to ensure that every aspect of the SCLC is validated, including the infrastructure that builds and deploys code, as well as the evolving threat landscape. They aim for a method that recognizes that even formal methods in memory safety can be undermined if the build pipeline or tooling is compromised, or if threat modeling fails to keep pace with new attack vectors. They also want the system to adapt automatically to changes in the environment and incorporate new intelligence in near real time. Which approach best aligns with these highlighted objectives for continuous holistic assurance, wise guys? Oh, that wasn't there. I'm sorry. That was little gravitas. Alpha. In addition to incremental formal verification on code changes, implement a trusted build pipeline verified by a separate, minimal, formally verified bootstrap compiler. Continuously generate threat models using an automated process that incorporates real-time threat intelligence feeds and updates the architectural assumptions whenever new technologies or data flows are introduced. Pair this with integrity checks on build pipelines components before every release, ensuring both the application code and the tools that produce it remain uncompromised. I don't know how to argue with that. Bravo. Retain the current incremental formal verification and continuous SCI updates for the code, and add in quarterly assessment into the build. There's our disclaimer, our disqualifier, right? Both pipeline dedicated to update, yada, 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 yada. So again, when you're taking your exam, this is so common. I'm glad we did this because I probably do this for a living. I pass tests so well, and when I don't really know, people think I'm an expert. I go, nah, I just learned how to find the wrong answer. All right, hopefully. Charlie, extend the formal verification scope to cover build scripts and configuration files once at the start of each sprint, verifying if they match a secure, I'll keep going, match a known secure baseline. Used a fixed threat model. No, it can't be right. We got to adapt. Your threats are always changing. I'm martialized. I don't know what he's going to do next. Delta, continue with incremental formal verification of code dependencies performed daily. Ah, this isn't going to
That one's
stump
even
our
worse.
guide. Yeah, but again, watch for that. I swear that was my cloud test. When I took the cloud test, I was really in over my head. So, and yet I found it easy because the wrong answers were just so damn wrong. Pardon my
Try to
French.
confuse you with the technical words.
It's an old expression in the hood. If you can't dazzle them with brilliance, baffle them with
Baffle 'em.
boasting.
Heard that one.
What did they say? It was Alpha, right? Okay, and Gemini. Yeah, it was Alpha. There was another pattern that we recognized. Did anybody notice how many right answers were A?
A lot of them were.
Yeah. Yeah, there's another pattern there. But I think we should stop here. Let me thank everybody for showing up. Let me bring back my little slideshow. Is it still there? Yeah. So this is our prompt. We modify it and tweak it all the time. And we're here every Friday. And I hope to see you guys back. And we'll come up with something. And I'll let somebody else lead the games and keep, maybe we'll let Grok run the questions. But same Blatt time, same Arpita channel. Arpita, you don't know the Batman TV show, how that went off, but. Well, congratulations to Grok and Gemini. They have tied for the lead. Arpita, thank you so much for being my co-host here. I did, as you saw, I think you were looking down. I tried to get everybody to create a graphic. So this is Meta's. Oh, we got a few. Congratulations to our hungry. I don't know that there's any spelling right here in the first. Oh, Grok and Jimmy. Gemini, let's see your picture. Congratulations. I don't know what that. Grok, you yourself. That's almost scary. That's how Grok. All right, I'll take ChatGPTs. Thanks, everybody. I
Thank
hope
you,
you enjoyed it.
Larry. This was fun. We'll see you all next week.
Bye-bye. I'm trying
Cool.
to stop the recording. I stopped the share.